welcome back to my channel. My name is Tahar and today is going to be a video showing you how I cover my acne marks, my acne scars, my redness, and my texture. You can only cover it so much. You can cover a lot of the redness but not a lot of the raises and the bumps and the texture. So I hope this video will be helpful to anybody of you who needs some help. And all of the things I use today are affordable, save for a few products, but I will be putting down some dupes if you want to save some money and just purchase from the drugstore. So if you want to see how I cover my acne redness, my acne scarring, my texture, then please keep on watching. As you can see, I have a bunch of acne. I am breaking out for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, to hide all that, I'm going to be using a pore filling primer. I'm using the Porefessional by Benefit. And this is just to reduce the pores, the size of my pores. And you can use any pore filling primer you like. You can also use like a anti-redness primer, which comes like in a green formula. But I don't think that those really help in any way. So I just go in with green concealer. For the green concealer, my favorite is the LA Girl Pro Conceal. Once the primer has set, I do just dab this along any of the redness, which is like my whole face, but like any of the extra red areas of my skin that I really want to hide, especially like around the nose area and along like some of the biggest breakouts. And I just let this sit for a while, because if you go in with your foundations and everything and you disturb the product, it's gonna mix into your foundation. It won't look good. So you just have to let this sit for a while until it's a little bit set, and then that's the time you go and you can use a sponge or your fingers, doesn't really matter. Just make sure your fingers are clean, please. And then just spread it evenly around your breakout so it's going to be a little bit thinner and it won't look weird. I find that using the finger gives me the most coverage, and that's why I don't use a sponge for this. You can also use a brush if you want, but I think the finger is fine. So I look pretty crazy now, but now we're going to do the foundation. I like to use a full coverage foundation, and for this look I'm using the Maybelline Superstay. Very, very nice and high coverage. This is not my shade. This is actually darker than my shade. So what I'm going to do, see, it's really nice and thick. What I'm going to be doing is I'm also going to be mixing some of the green concealer to lighten the foundation. And I know that people use like white lighteners. I like using green because many of the foundations I buy from the drugstore have this like pink undertone, and I'm not pink. I'm almost yellow undertone or almost neutral, and the green is just, it's a really nice way to combat the green is a nice way to combat the pink undertone. So I'm just going to be mixing the foundation and the green concealer pretty well until I get the desired color. And you can use your finger, a brush, or a sponge, but I prefer using a brush for this, and I'll be showing you the brush that I like using. For this kind of application, I want it to be the highest coverage possible, so I like using a dense brush. I got this at H&M. They have actually really good brushes. Some are like meh, but this is a really, really good brush. And it's nice because you know how brushes, they tend to leave streaks on your face. This doesn't. So I'm very happy with this brush. And I'm just gently patting over. I'm just being very gentle because I don't want to disturb the green concealer underneath. I'm going to go in with a sponge. This is the Morphe sponge. I really like this. I do have a video. I'll be linking it up here. Just to smoothen out the application, the foundation. But I'm going to be very careful with this step because I don't want to take away any of the coverage. You have to be careful with putting concealer on your zits or on your acne marks, because if you use lighter concealer, which is what we tend to buy, it will further emphasize the acne spot. We can't only cover redness, we can't really cover texture. So that's what I have a major problem with, it's texture. What I like to do is I like to go in with a powder, like a really pore filling powder. Pore filling powder, that sounds really bad for your skin. But yeah, that kind of powder, which will really help cover the shine, because you get texture, you see it when there's shine. And if you have a pore mattifying powder, it will lessen the shine and it won't emphasize the acne marks as much. So I'm just going to be putting another layer of foundation only in the areas that I feel like I need more coverage. So yeah, just this big pimple over here, and yep, that's it. I'll just let that set for a while. While we let the foundation set, we're gonna go in with some concealer for the eyes, under eyes, and this will also give an extra bit of coverage for your skin. So don't go too light first, and if you have light concealer, try to concentrate it a little bit upwards. And I like using a brush and a sponge, it doesn't really matter, but I do have this sponge from H&M, and it's a very nice small sponge. You can compare it to the Morphe one, and I like this for under eyes, and I like it, yeah. So I just try to concentrate that underneath the eyes, and if I have like texture, I try not to put the concealer over the texture. When covering acne, I actually prefer using foundation, high coverage foundation, as opposed to concealer, because having foundation cover your acne is more realistic to your tone. If you use concealer, it's going to be a different color of concealer, like it's going to be different to your foundation, so it's going to look kind of weird. Unless you go under it, like what I did with the green concealer. You can hide your acne by putting concealer and then putting your foundation. The problem with that, I find, for me, is sometimes acne, they have the skin, like dry skin on them, and if you do that, it will further enhance the dryness of your skin. So I try to avoid doing it that way. So the last step to covering your acne marks and texture, this will really help with texture, is using a translucent powder or any kind of matte powder. I have one for baking and one like flat powder. For baking, this is the Kat Von D Lock-It powder. I do like it, but only for baking. I just don't think that it's the best at like oil control. So I do concentrate this underneath the eyes, but I do like the tone of it. So if ever I wanna just lighten my foundation, or emphasize like where I cut my contour. I have oily skin, so I'm not afraid to bake, and I have textured skin, so I actually prefer baking all over my face, because this will help with the texture and hiding all that texture. The shine will emphasize any texture you have, so I just really want to make sure that I am matte, but I do love like a good highlighter. So if you want to work your highlighter, you have to make sure that this part is as smooth as can be, so you don't have any texture being emphasized. And finally, I'll go in with my powder, my flat powder. This is just from Maybelline. This is the kind of powder that I'm going to be taking with me when I leave the house. So You can use any powder you want. I actually really like this for like pore filling. And this is where I just put everywhere. I want that my pores to be reduced. Also, it's also nice to like use this kind of powder to set in or lock in where you put your where you hid your acne marks. So I'm feeling very dry right now. It's very, very dry, very matte. But don't worry, we're gonna go in with setting spray later, and I'll be like right back. So this is the look, but you can see that my foundation is very matte, except for the highlighter I have on my nose and on my cheeks. For the final touch, setting spray, you don't have to go through setting spray if you don't want to. For this look, I think I'd be needing some setting spray because I do feel a little bit powdery, a little bit cakey. And what setting spray does is it just blends in everything and makes everything look good and nice and blended and skin-like. And I could use a little bit of juice on my skin right now. So what I like to use is the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, and I have a video up here and I'll be linking it up there. But if you are oily skin and you want to, you know, stop the oils from peeking through, I really, really like the Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 spray. This is my favorite spray, but the sprayer on the Continuous Mist is just so great. Let me just mist my face. It's just, it's such a beautiful fine mist, and you almost feel like you're not spraying anything on your face, but you are. So I definitely recommend this, and I also really recommend this if you want to control your oils. And yeah, this just, you can still see the texture if you're like up close. You can still see some of the texture, especially when the light hits, but it's not as prominent or prevalent. It's not as noticeable now that the skin is very, very matte. I mean, I like a dewy look, but it's just harder for us people to hide the texture and at the same time look dewy. So I just prefer the matte kind of look, if you know what I mean. So there you have it. I hope you learned something from my tips and tricks on how I cover my acne scarring, my redness, and my pit scars and texture. And yeah, I hope you subscribe down below, and don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, and comment down below what you'd like to see from my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!